Good afternoon, everyone. Time for some injury report updates. And we got some interesting news out of the Seahawks today when it comes to their injured players and when or if, in some cases, they will be back, and what kind of team will be fielding on Sunday against Jacksonville, and also what kind of team we're going to be playing against. So let's go ahead and jump right into the injury report from today. First, let's just start with what happened in practice because that's always kind of educational. Dwayne Brown, he was an unexpected name to show up on the injury report this week, but he has a non COVID illness. Did not practice on Friday or Thursday for that matter. He is listed as questionable, so that's a bit of a surprise, but players get sick sometimes. And if there was anything that could have happened to Dwayne Brown that would unexpectedly make his status in question for a game, I prefer that it's an illness to something like a leg injury or a pectoral injury or something like that. So I guess that's the most preferable surprise that you could get out of this injury report. Everything else is pretty much as expected. Alex Collins was limited in practice, as was DK Metcalf, but I think both guys will play. Brandon Shell and Damien Lewis both had injuries, both listed on the injury report, but both fully participated in practice. I expect both to play. The only weird thing is that Marquis Blair, despite having already been declared as suffering a season-ending injury against the Saints, apparently he's not on IR yet. He's listed as out and did not practice this week because, of course, he can't because he got hurt, but for some reason not on IR yet. I don't know what's going on there. Don't know if somebody forgot to submit some paperwork, somebody forgot to submit their TPS report. I don't know, but doesn't really matter. He's out for this game and going to be out for the season almost certainly. We do have 3 players listed as questionable. Damien Lewis, Dwayne Brown, and Alex Collins. I expect all 3 guys to play with the information that I have, but time will tell. Obviously, this is a game that you probably don't need to come with all barrels in order to win. So if 1 or 2 players needs to sit out, then you can probably afford it. And also, this is a relatively low-stakes situation in this season because, contrary to what some of my viewers believe, I do think this season is probably over. So I'm not going to risk somebody's long-term health to try to win a game at this point. Brandon Shell did not have a designation, so he's good to go. DK Metcalf did not have a designation. He's good to go. But some of the interesting stuff that came out of the injury report this week was actually stuff that didn't get listed on the official injury report. Pete Carroll had some comments about Chris Carson that were kind of pessimistic. And if somebody were to come up to me and tell me that Chris Carson's not going to play football again this year, then I would believe them. Carroll's comments about Carson did not inspire confidence in me. He basically said he needs to have a positive turn soon, or else this is going to be a long-term thing. Basically, what I translated from what he had to say about Carson was, if things don't turn around in the next week or two, we're probably just going to put him on IR and forget about him this season. So, unfortunate for sure. I feel for Carson. I defended the contract when we extended him this offseason because it was cheap and because I thought that he would be able to contribute enough to this team to justify that relatively small amount of money. But this is turning into the worst case scenario for all parties involved. I knew Carson was going to miss some games this year. I didn't think he was going to miss most of the games, or, at this point he may as well be missing all the games. So I don't feel good about what's going on with Carson. Carroll also talked about Wilson a little bit. Apparently the pin is not out of his finger yet. So when Carroll was asked about that, he kind of implied that he didn't know where that report came from, like it was some kind of internal leak. But he said it's not true. The pin is still in there. And there was the expectation that the pin was going to come out sometime this week, if not late last week. However, Carroll also said he's still way ahead of schedule. I kind of feel like those two things are contradictory. The pin should be out by now if he's ahead of schedule, but also for my money, I don't think it matters that much, so I'm not even going to work up the energy to be annoyed by it. Kind of feels like we're being lied to our faces. I don't see how Wilson could be way ahead of schedule if he actually is, yeah, still has the pin in, but I guess time will tell. We'll know if he's back for the Green Bay game or not in a couple weeks, and that's the best I can say about it, but the pin is still in there. Dwayne Eskridge did not practice this week, to my knowledge. They're still kind of evaluating him to see what's going on there. I didn't hear any specific new updates from him other than that he was seeing a specialist because of vision issues, which doesn't sound promising, but we already knew that. So that's about it for the Seahawks injury report. Let's go over to Jacksonville's real quick, and theirs is relatively straightforward. Most of the guys on their injury report this week will play. Ben Barsh, Miles Jack, Ross Matiskis, I don't know, Tyler Shatley. So the interesting things come at the top of this report here. Jay Tufele is out, but he was barely playing as it was. I think he played a few snaps a couple weeks ago, and that's it. But Tyson Campbell and Devon Hamilton are both important parts of that defense. Tyson Campbell had played a lot of snaps over the first several weeks of the season. Devon Hamilton had been a key part of that defensive line rotation. So those guys were limited in practice today and are questionable for the game. If they cannot go, that hurts an already not very good defense. So as much as Geno Smith looked awful against the Saints, this is a different challenge that he faces on Sunday. This is a much worse defense. This is a defense that is just going to plain make life a lot easier for Geno. So I'm not really defending Geno, but against this defense, which is already not good and missing potentially two key players, that should make life easier for Geno to the point where it doesn't really matter if he's not that good. He's going to be good enough to get it done against this Jacksonville team, I think. And we'll talk more about this specific game tomorrow morning, but for this injury report, that's really about all that I can say. They're missing guys on that defense. Their offense looks pretty locked and loaded, other than the guys who have already been declared out for an extended period of time, like DJ Chark. I believe he's out for the season, actually. But either way, I'm relatively sure he's not going to play in this game because that was an unfortunate injury that he had. And I really like DJ Chark. But yeah, that's really about all you can say about the injury report this week. It's pretty clean for both teams, right? This is not bad, given the fact that we're in the middle of the season. And especially given the fact that Blair shouldn't even be listed here because we've known for days now that Blair's out for the year. But it's the stuff that's not listed here that definitely gives you concern. Like I said, the Chris Carson thing, that's it's tragic. Hopefully we get better news in the coming days. But hopefully, I'll say this, hopefully the offensive line is at least able to go out there with their starters and give Geno Smith the best possible situation. And yeah, that'll do it. Peace out, Go Hawks. See you guys in stream later. Hoping for a win this week because there aren't going to be a whole lot of wins the rest of the season, I don't think.